Boxing has always been a battle of muscle and mind, a psychological as well as physical contest. Now some fighters have taken to using a hypnotist, but this could involve a lot more risks than rewards. Clinton Woods has won all 11 fights in his brief middleweight career. Today, he's come to the gym, not to train his body, but to sharpen his mind. It's his first session with the hypnotherapist.
Is there something that you particularly like to work on?
Just want to be more relaxed leading up to a fight. Try and relax a bit more when I'm in the ring and get the stuff off what I'm doing when I'm training. Just want to be a bit more relaxed instead of stiff, and I just can't seem to do things while I'm doing it in the ring when I'm training.
Now Paul's put Clinton into a hypnotic trance, he talks softly to him about his pre-fight nerves and offers encouragement. Apparently it's effective.
For years, trainers have hypnotised, without knowing it, they've hypnotised their boxers anyway. But now it's just becoming a little bit more specialised, where you might have a hypnotist such as myself to use what they learn in the training and put it into the ring.
Now fully awake, Clinton spars in the gym. When a boxer's been hypnotised, he's supposed to be more focused, more natural. Couldn't actually tell myself.
Even though he's had all those victories undefeated, I think he still hasn't shown his true form. What I've seen he can show in the gym.
So what's the difference between him in training and him in the ring?
It all comes down to being relaxed. I feel that when he does get in the ring, he gets quite a lot of support when he gets in the ring, and I think he tries to over-impress and falls down on it sometimes and doesn't perform his true skills.
Everybody performs well with a little bit of nerves, a little bit of adrenaline, but if it goes beyond a certain level, it can really affect the performance.
So as a hypnotist, what can you do for that?
Well, the simplest way I can explain is everyone has a good day, and everyone has bad days. I just try and make sure that they have good days on the days that they need it.
Finding the good days for athletes is the main aim of the sports scientists at Manchester University, who also want to improve performance. Apparently, all athletes do as well as their minds will allow. Get the mind right, and you're there. By recording brain activity during the particular sport, in this case Olympic level pistol shooting, and then getting the athlete to study the data or brain profile of the best shots, the scientists can teach an athlete to match that level all the time. Just like the hypnotist, the scientist is picking out the good days for the athlete to copy.
One of the key things as sports scientists that we're interested in is performance enhancement. With the equipment that we have here and the studies that are going on, we can investigate some of the processes that are occurring, look at the profiles that are related to successful performance and less successful performance. Once we've done that, we want to identify whether the characteristics of a successful shooting profile can be created within what they're doing in mental imagery, in mental training. If the performers have got confidence that they're actually recreating their overt training profiles, then the confidence and the physiological characteristics associated with that have got to be beneficial to the performer.
Which means, if you want to do well, copy what you did well before, just as the hypnotist had said. Scientists think hypnosis is a bit woolly, and in particular, they're not happy about the way it's used.
As an intervention technique for a sports psychologist, I think hypnosis needs to be used carefully. I think it needs to be used only by those individuals that are trained in the practice of hypnosis, and personally I believe that there needs to be a lot more research done in the area, certainly of sport and hypnosis, before it warrants the current wide use that it has within British sport.
But I didn't know that you...
When I went to see Britain's most famous hypnotist, he argued that athletes could be programmed for success when under the influence.
When somebody's in a trance, which is really just like a daydream, they're more suggestible. You have access to if you like, the greater part of that person, their wisdom, their creativity, and also to their habit patterns. Anything that you do automatically, you had to actually stumble through and learn once upon a time. Like the first time you tied your shoelaces, you really had to think about it. And then you were able to do it after 4 or 5 times automatically. What a hypnotist can do is put somebody into a trance and then install, if you like, habits of success in a very short space of time, and they become then automatic for the sports person.
So what you're doing is you're taking this desire, this innate desire that they've got, and bringing it to the fore.
Yes, that's correct. Now, you could install that in somebody if you wanted to, but I think that it's not an appropriate way to do that. I think that somebody should wish and desire it to be strengthened within themselves. Otherwise, it amounts to brainwashing, you know.
Well, so you could brainwash if you wanted to.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's called advertising, or you know, or look at what the cults use or the politicians use. You know, that's.
But in terms of performance,
sure, you could, yeah. But I wouldn't recommend it.
If you're just focusing the mind or teaching someone good habits, hypnosis seems to be effective and safe. To be fair, boxing's always been about psychology, and some trainers have long preached the virtues of hypnotism.
It's peace of mind it gives them, relaxes them. It focuses the guy usually, you know. They get good focus for the fight, and they don't get hit so much. If you're thinking about something else and not thinking about not getting hit, you should get hit more.
About 15, 20 years ago, I mean, I think I must have been one of the first people to take somebody to a hypnosis. I mean, I had a big heavyweight, 16.5 stone. He was the biggest man around in those days. And if he either hit you, he knocked you out, or if you tapped him on the chin, he'd go out. So I did. I took him to a hypnosis. And I was in the room when he put him under. And he said, look, he said, you're a big boy. He said, I think it's all to do with balance with you. He says, but the next time you box, he said, you will shrug some of these punches off. You will shrug them off. And you won't feel the effects as you normally do. And my goodness, he went out like, and he did the business, and he was hit on the chin, he didn't go on the floor.
We met several fighters who've benefited from this level of mind control. But hypnotism is powerful and can do far more than focus the mind, as I was about to find out for myself. John Butler is a consultant to the Royal College of Nursing and an expert in the use of hypnosis.
You can show me how you can change through hypnosis the pain threshold.
Yes. Right. Okay. If I was to...
For years, he's been concerned at the possible misuse of what is a powerful technique by sports hypnotists.
Start with just relax the body. Now we're going to continue to send you right into hypnosis with this, and as it goes up...
Although I'd never been hypnotised, I was under within 5 minutes.
Moving over towards your body. Anywhere you wish, even your chin or your stomach, and as you go deeper and deeper, it touches your body, and you go much deeper still now. And with that then, when I take your hand and drop it now, you go 5 times.
Now
deeper.
I'm in a trance. He went on to demonstrate the power Paul McKenna had hinted at by switching off my eyes.
Now relax those eye muscles right to the point where you know that they just won't work. And when you're sure they won't work, just test them. That's fine. Now stop trying and relax deeper.
If I was a boxer, he could have told me to fight in a particular way, by going forward or punching to the head, say.
Relax.
Either way, the hypnotist would have installed a thought in my mind.
Start stroking your...
Knowing that I was suggestible, he went on to alter my way of handling pain.
And as I do so, let that hand and arm, particularly the little finger, feel very, very numb. Very, very numb. So numb as though it's like a lump of stone or a block of wood, no feeling in it. It's so numb that it feels almost as if it's no longer a part of you. More and more numb. So numb as though it's been placed in a bucket of ice. More and more numb. And when you're ready for me to make a little test, you can signal to me by letting this index finger rise up a bit from where it's resting. That's fine. Just continuing to relax. Deeper and deeper, each easy breath, sending you more and more deep. More and more numb, more and more numb. Each easy breath sending you deeper and deeper, more and more numb. Now, that's going in, it's gone in now. It's easy for you to relax. Now you can open your eyes and look at the needle and go right back, much deeper still. And I'm just going to take out that needle as you go much deeper now, resting, relaxing. Now in a few moments' time I'm going
And having restored my natural defences to their usual alert level, he brought me round again.
Wide awake, feeling positive, feeling good, feeling strong and well in every way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, okay.
Now that was a strange experience.
Yes.
Let me ask you some questions about it.
Yes.
I thought that at any stage I could have come out of that.
Yes, well
But I
that's
didn't.
true. Yes. Well, for a first session, a very light level is all that's usual, and that's all we need for most purposes. How about your eyes closed?
No, I couldn't open it.
You couldn't open your eyes.
No.
Yeah.
And yet I think I could only not open them at the time you told me I couldn't open them.
Yeah.
Every other
Afterwards,
time I think I could have opened them.
Yeah. That's
But
right.
But I didn't.
But that was only for when the suggestion was active.
And when you put the needle in, I could feel some pain.
Yes. There's a reduced threshold. A raised threshold, so there's a reduced pain, but it's still...
So I could still feel it, but it wasn't like
normal.
A sharp jab in the... No. It was acceptable pain.
Yeah. But there wasn't a withdrawal reflex and a major or any sign of much discomfort there. So that was, quite a nice level that was starting at, a nice light level. And that would be just a matter of deepening that to get it more profound.
All boxers are desperate to win and will want the hypnotist to do everything he can to help, like reduce pain. But boxers could themselves be in danger if hypnosis is misused. To show just how much pain could be controlled, John Butler produced an artery clamp, used in surgery to seal off main blood vessels. The syringe had been enough for me, but under self-hypnosis, he could withstand far worse.
And if I normally were to get you to pick up a reasonable amount of flesh and then put it between those forceps like that, well, it's very painful. You certainly can't close it. Now, because that hand is now anaesthetized, that's fine, and I can close in all the notches.
And you can't feel anything at all?
I know it's there. I haven't given myself suggestion. I have no sensation whatsoever, but it's almost as if there's no...
Hypnotists can use this technique to alter a boxer's defences. It's called hypnotic analgesia and would normally only be used in surgery.
It's really just the fact that the clamp is there, but it doesn't bother me.
The knowledge that this level of hypnosis is available to fighters and that it's unregulated has provoked an outcry in the sport.
If a boxer doesn't feel pain, then he doesn't understand that his body is being damaged to perhaps an unacceptable extent and to a dangerous extent. That's exactly the reason why I would oppose the use of hypnosis as such in boxing.
Fair Game has discovered a hypnotist who claims to have used these controversial techniques and a current world champion. If hypnosis is now widely used in boxing, then its most high-profile exponent has to be Steve Collins, who used a hypnotist when he won the world super middleweight title from Chris Eubank last year. For Collins, a formidable fighter, it was mainly a matter of psyching out his opponent.
Eubank, arrived at the weigh-in, and I was there actually skipping off some extra poundage that I had to lose for the weigh-in. And we'd done a program with the hypnotist, which basically had me kind of, well, not program, but I decided that, when Eubank comes in, that I was going to scowl at him and stare at him and keep telling him that I'm going to win. He just saw something that he never saw before. He got scared with this person who had absolutely no doubt in his mind he was going to win. I kept repeating, I'm going to win, and I kept telling it to him, I'm going to win. And he got scared. It was strange. It was something he never saw before. And then we leaked out that Collins is using hypnosis. He's hypnotised, So that scared him. And he didn't know what
what the effects would be or what was going to happen, and he wanted out. So that was probably, I suppose, round 1 or round 2 down to me, you know.
Collins used mental calming techniques taught by the hypnotist right up to the bell.
Chris Eubank has used what I class as his own form of hypnosis. I mean, he's got this unbelievable entrance, you know, with the lights, the music, the drums, the sound, you know, and it's very intimidating. And I believe that in a way hypnotizes his opponents and even the people at the fight. So I decided to put on my Walkman and play some music that would help me distract from what he was doing. So I sat in the corner in a very relaxed position, my eyes closed, and totally ignored his whole entrance. I heard a thump on the canvas. I knew this is where he jumped into the ring, you know. So I was well aware what was going on, but I just cut myself off as much as I could. So I'm sure that when he got into the ring and he looked, he realised that his edge with psychology hadn't worked with me, and that scared him.
It was the hypnotist in Collins' corner who had the most power. Tony Quinn had been brought in to train with Collins in Las Vegas and is now based in California. Quinn had previously used hypnosis in hospitals and had been keen to try techniques used in surgery on a fighter. He agreed to meet me at his Malibu home and to discuss the controversial pain-killing conditioning that he claims to have used in his work with Collins.
Tony Quinn.
Greg,
how are you?
Nice to see you. Come in. Thanks.
Far from apologising for using such a powerful hypnotic tool on a sportsman, Quinn advertised what he'd done.
Yeah, no, it's...
He was behind the publication of a brochure published after the fight, in which he set out the amazing powers he claimed to have given Collins. Powers like the ability not to feel pain, to stop cuts bleeding, even to prevent bruising and swelling. Were these techniques not dangerous for boxers?
I don't think it's dangerous in so much as that the body itself is a very sensitive, obviously, instrument, but the mind has such power over that body that it can literally cause it not to bruise in the same way. You're not just not feeling pain, but it's not bruising in the same way. It's not even bleeding in the same way.
I think it would be inappropriate to hypnotize somebody to delete pain to the extent that it might bring their well-being into question. Their continued safety might be threatened because they were totally ignoring pain.
The way that a boxer could deal with pain is not like an anaesthetic.
No. Essentially what happens is that during the weeks coming up to the fight, you train the person's mind to deal with the pain. It isn't that they just ignore the pain. They actually don't feel the pain.
It might be that an athlete is given suggestions to go beyond his or her own natural limitations, or to ignore pain, serious pain, so that the result is a major injury.
It's not just something that you're just saying, hey, I'm really feeling this pain all the time, and a lot of people think that, but I'm just ignoring it, I'm thinking of something else. It's not like that. They don't seem to feel pain in the same way, because you don't have the same amount of bruising and the same amount of damage. And if you notice in some of his fights that Steve got very severe cuts over the eye, but it stopped very quickly because he had this type of control over his bleeding.
Rubbish. I mean, your skin doesn't have an intelligence which can be hypnotized. You can persuade a man that he isn't going to be cut, but you can't tell the skin itself not to cut, can you? So it's a nonsense.
All athletes are always looking for an edge, the competitive edge. Now, they're prepared, obviously, in all the cases, to take drugs. But here you've got your own mind, if you see what I mean, where if you're going to use all of your body, why don't you have a mental trainer if you have a physical trainer? I think the athletes of the future will have mental trainers as well. For instance, there's endorphins and so forth, chemicals in the brain that can take care of pain and so forth, so you don't have to take drugs. Almost, you could really do away with drugs. All the drugs you ever need are in your own mind. I feel it helped Steve even to almost ignore the pain and ignore what was taking place and just totally concentrate on what he wanted to do, which of course was to win the fight. And my real attitude is, you've got a mind, why not use it?
Collins wouldn't tell us about Quinn's methods in detail, but back in Jersey, where he was training for his title defence, he remained adamant that to his knowledge hypnotism had never done him any harm.
No, I mean, I was world champion before I used hypnosis. I'm still world champion without hypnosis. But it can be a benefit. There is times when it can benefit you. And I would probably use it in the future. My experience of using a hypnotist were good experiences. I never got into a situation where it was a danger to me. And I don't want to get into that situation, so if I do use a hypnotist, I'll be very careful as to what is going to be done by him.
Or maybe if someone is under the influence of hypnosis, they can, if there's not safety guards put in or safety barriers put in, maybe they can push themselves beyond the limit. Maybe it's possible, but I don't know. We'd have to ask the experts about that.
And of course, most experts disagree. In any case, Collins was about to fight without Quinn in his corner. A year after they'd seen him beat Eubank, the home crowd in Cork knew that although he'd finished with Quinn, Collins was still mentally sharp. Backstage, the fighters were tense, and the psychological battle was well underway.
Not coming, that's the music!
Neville Brown couldn't go on without his music. As for the champ, by now a real pro at the grand entry, he'd taken a leaf out of the Eubank book. In the fight, Collins proved stronger and more focused than his opponent. They didn't even go the distance, with the ref stepping in to save Brown from destruction in round 11. So if he hadn't needed hypnotism this time, what had been the secret ingredient?
I was born with it. It's just, you know, it's in me. It's in the people that we are. We have a resource in us, the Irish people, and that's brought out. That's what brings out in me, you know. And you're just born with it. You know what I mean?
If hypnosis was just hype, there'd be no problem. But it's not. And amazingly, the British Boxing Board of Control has no policy on it. The whole area is unregulated.
There is no formal registration of hypnotherapists or control in any binding legal way by any government body.
There's a real problem at the moment because you have people who are selling double glazing one week decide to set up their own International Federation of Hypnosis Research College, and they can do that and nobody can stop them. It's terrible. You know, there are tons of these cowboys out there, and people have to be very careful when they go to see a hypnotherapist.
There's always a danger involved when unqualified people operate in boxing in whatever sphere, I mean, or untrained people, and I wouldn't be comfortable with unqualified hypnotherapists operating in boxing.
The Boxing Board are due to discuss hypnosis this month for the first time. Meanwhile, fighters must play the hypnotist they visit doesn't misuse his powers.
If that happened, someone could really get hurt.